Someone got their hair cut. Hey plant nerds, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a Q&A video. I asked all of my followers on Instagram to submit some questions to me, and I am going to give you some A's to those Q's. Now, I'm not going to get through every single question that I was asked, but I will answer most of the questions, and a lot of them were very similar, so one answer can go for a myriad of questions. So I'm going to start this Q&A by repotting this Pilea silver cloud plant. This plant is special to me because this plant was involved in the first ever video I posted to my YouTube channel. This plant still is doing very well, but it's time to put it in a bigger pot. The first question is, how old are you? And the answer to that is I am 34. By the time this video is out, I will be 34. I have a birthday on June 6th. So I am an older millennial, maybe? Someone once called me a millennial daddy. I don't think I like that. The next question I was asked, and probably one of the most popular questions I was asked, was, what do you do for your day job? My job is I work as a director of operations for a small community bank, and I love my job. I love the place I work. I love the people I work with. If you know anyone who works in a small company, you know that they wear multiple hats. So while my title is Director of Operations, I kind of am involved in a lot of different aspects of work at the bank, and I really enjoy my job. It gives me the means to be able to live my life and also fund my plant solution. All right, one down. Another question I was asked a lot is what I enjoyed doing outside of caring for plants, so what my hobbies would be. And I would say YouTube is a hobby of mine. I really enjoy editing and filming videos, not so much being on camera. I kind of wish I lived near someone who I could just film and edit their videos, because I really enjoy that aspect of it, but I'm getting used to being in front of the camera. Also, I enjoy, just biking. I enjoy playing volleyball, outdoor and indoor. I enjoy tennis, a lot of different activities outside. Disc golf is another one that I really enjoy playing, and Netflix. That is my hobby. And my next question is, if I could live anywhere in the world, where would I live and why? That's a tough question. I want to say Costa Rica, because you have the ocean and you have the mountains and you have a rainforest type atmosphere. I do love the mountains and I also love the ocean. And so Costa Rica seems like it would be ideal to have both of them right next to each other. As far as just like living in the USA, I would probably say somewhere in Northern California / the Pacific Northwest. I visited there a couple years ago and I was completely blown away by the geography there. You had these mountains or these giant hills and kind of cliffs right next to the ocean. It almost didn't feel like I was in the same country. It was a really cool area of our nation, so I think I would really love to make that my home. Next question I was asked quite a few times is, who is your favorite plant YouTuber? And I'm not really going to answer that question because there are so many people on YouTube that produced plant-related content that I absolutely adore. And I don't want to miss saying a name and miss someone off a list and make them feel less than or unimportant, because I've been in that position and it doesn't feel great. And I love when people are passionate about something. So if you're passionate about plants and you're producing content and publishing it out for the world to see, chances are I have watched it and I enjoy it, because that takes a certain amount of courage, and it's just inspiring when people exude that passion for something that they care for. I will tell you the people who inspired me to start filming and putting up YouTube content, and those people include Nick Pileggi. Sorry, Nick, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Nick was one of the first people I subscribed to on YouTube, and to this day is the source that I use to be able to pronounce the Latin botanic names for plants. So a lot of the times if I have a plant that I don't know how to pronounce the name, I will just go and search one of his videos for that plant, because for some reason it just like rolls off his tongue, and I am not that good. Betsy Begonia is another plant YouTuber that I really love. Betsy started a little bit before me, but her videos are just amazing, and she is genuinely one of the nicest people you could ever communicate with. She's just an all-around good human being. I also really love everything that Summer Rain Oaks produces. She has amazing content on her channel, and she has done so much for the houseplant community. And there's the second one finished. All right, so the next plant I'm gonna repot is this watermelon peperomia, which, to be honest, I thought was not doing well, but when I pulled it off the shelf, like this leaf looks beautiful. There is definitely some damaged leaves on this, spots where clearly it wasn't in ideal condition. So the next question is, what is your favorite type of plant and what does that say about you? I don't think it's any surprise that my favorite plant species is the peperomia. I've said that multiple times on my channel. I can't tell you exactly what that says about me. Maybe that I'm freaking awesome. I find peperomias to be such a unique plant family. There is so many different varieties of a peperomia, and they come in all different shapes and sizes, and they're so unique. So I think that's why I love them so much. The next question is, how many plants do you own? And what is your all-time favorite? I haven't done like a full count recently, but I think there's about 120 in the house, and then another 25 or so probably in my office at work. And my all-time favorite plant right now, at this point in my 34 years of existence, is the Thamatophyllum Xanadu. It was classified as a philodendron, but it has been reclassified as Thamatophyllum, which is less easy to say and spell. Watching the new leaves form on this plant is always exciting. This plant has produced so many new leaves, and you think that you would get used to that feeling, but the second I see a new leaf emerging from this plant, I am thrilled. I also really love how it changes its shape and form the older it gets, like most plants. But it's just a really awesome plant, and it makes me think of Olivia Newton-John, and who doesn't love a little orange in their life? The next plant I'm going to pot up is this Peperomia scandens variegata, and I ordered this from Steve's Leaves a while ago, and it didn't come in the best of shape. Not from Steve's Leaves, because I have quite a few plants from them and they all come in good shape. But I think this one had a rough time in the mail. It is bouncing back and it's putting off a lot of new growth, but I just love the look of this peperomia. And I have this beautiful pot to pot this plant in. This pot was purchased from someone I follow on Instagram. It's a gentleman named James, but his Instagram handle is Botanical. He creates these amazing ceramic pieces of art. This one is definitely one of my favorite pots. It is this beautiful glazed pot that does have a nice drainage hole. Holla for the drainage. I chose to pot my Peperomia scandens variegata in there because there is definitely some pink and red on the leaves of this plant, and I thought it would be a nice complement to the pot that I have here. The next question I was asked quite a bit is how I got into plants. I bought a plant in Chicago at Sprout, and I bought what I now know was a Maranta, a prayer plant, the red Maranta. And then I also bought a plant hanger for this plant, and I brought it home and I sat and I stared at that plant hanger because I spent $30 on it, and I kept walking by and staring at it and thinking, like, I can make that. Like, I spent $30 on that and I definitely could make that myself. So that led me to figuring out how to do macrame, which is where my username comes from. Not dude. It's not because I had a man bun. It's because I used to tie knots and make macrame. Long story short, I started making plant hangers, and then I needed plants to put in those hangers, and then I started buying more plants, and then I started to learn how to care properly for those plants. And then those plants started growing, which just filled me with so much joy. Like, I can't explain to you how proud I was to just be able to successfully take care of and nurture a plant to grow more. So that high that I got from watching a plant put out a new leaf or create an offshoot kind of just kept multiplying. I kept buying more plants. I kept trying different species. So that's kind of how it all started with me, with just one overpriced macrame plant hanger and a lot of love for plants. The next question I was asked is if I still subscribe to Hobbies, which is a monthly plant subscription. And the answer to that is yes, most definitely. I love that Hobbies is a business where they send you a plant in the mail. I can't tell you how fun it is to get plant mail, and especially surprise plant mail, because you don't know what you're getting. So I do still subscribe to Hobbies. They're just a great company, and I've been subscribed to them now for a year, and they've just opened up a store, which I think is so awesome to just watch the journey of being this business that these people had a vision for, and they were running out of an apartment to now be able to have an office space and to create a place for plant people to come and enjoy their hobbies and their passions. Yes, I still subscribe to Hobbies, and I should be getting my plant for this month very soon, so I'm excited about that. All right, what do you guys think about this one? The next question I had was, what is your favorite plant that you do not have yet? And that most definitely is Tetrasperma. This is a plant that I have been in love with forever, and I cannot seem to find anywhere. I am currently on a wait list at a nursery near-ish where I live for this plant. I've been on the list for a couple months and I haven't gotten a phone call yet. So if any of you have any cuttings of a Tetrasperma and you want to do a tradesies, just let me know. All right, so the next plant we're gonna repot is this spider plant that I received from a coworker. She cut this plant off of her mother plant. They were a couple babies, and they have considerably grown. So I'm gonna combine these two plants into one bigger pot because I love spider plants and how they look, and I want a nice full and lush plant. Also, spider plants have one of the most interesting root systems of any plant that I think I've owned. You can kind of see the roots on this spider plant, like they just are so beefy and thick. The next question I was asked was Harry Potter or Frodo Baggins. I'm not sure I need to answer that question. I really truly am a big Harry Potter fan slash nerd. My sister, when I was just going to college, kind of introduced me to Harry Potter. The first 4 books were out, the first 2 movies were out, but I never really got into it. And then she kind of encouraged me to give it a try, and I started reading it, and I fell in love with the whole series. And as a small town kid, I had no idea what college was gonna be like. So to me, like, Harry Potter going off to Hogwarts was a little bit like how I would go off to college and be in the dorms, although not near as cool. But I did study abroad in college at Oxford for a summer program. And so while I was there on the weekends, I would search and find these places where the Harry Potter films were filmed, and then I took amazing photos by those. This one here is me standing in front of the entrance to the Leaky Cauldron from the first couple movies. This photo here is in front of the entrance to the Leaky Cauldron in the 3rd film. This photo here is me standing in the Great Hall at one of the colleges in Oxford. That was modeled for the Great Hall for Harry Potter. Is this nerdy enough for you yet? This photo here is me standing at the staircase that Professor McGonagall admonished Harry and Ron when they came in late after they had missed the train to Hogwarts and took the invisible car and got hit by the Whomping Willow. And this last photo here is me standing in London's King's Cross station at platform 9 3/4. So it's always going to be Harry Potter. So I'm done with my potting of plants, but the next question I would like to answer is, what house are you sorted into and what is your Patronus? So the house that I was sorted into is Hufflepuff, although I kind of identify as a Gryffindor. I'm a little house fluid, but Hufflepuff is my actual house, and my Patronus that I tested and received was a calico cat. I mean, it does kind of make sense. I am a lot like a cat. Like one moment I'll let you pet me, but the next moment I'm biting you and scratching you, especially if I'm hungry. The last question I want to answer is, how do you deal with plants with your cat? And I will say that it is a little bit of a challenge. Thankfully, Patches, my kitten, for the most part leaves my plants alone. I think it's a little bit about positive reinforcement. So if she starts to go after a plant, I kind of direct her attention somewhere else, find a toy or find something else to play with. For the most part, she doesn't chomp on leaves or bite plants. She might dig in the soil. Her favorite thing to do is jump in the big pots that I have and use them as a restroom or a litter box, which is not great. I've been trying to keep some sort of tinfoil or rocks on the surface of those plants to kind of curb that desire. There are moments where if I have a plant in an area that it's not usually in, maybe on the counter or on a table, she will jump up and kind of start taking her paw and like scooching it off a little bit. Thankfully, nothing has actually fallen onto the ground yet. All right, guys, that does it for our Q&A video today. I want to say thank you to those of you who submitted questions to me on Instagram. I really appreciate your communication. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up down below and click that subscribe button if you have not done that yet. And as always, I appreciate you hanging out with me. Thanks for watching.